So this is the brand new ROG Zephyrus G15, the 2022 model, and look, it's not much of an update. Design is pretty much identical. The only new improvements come down to an actual MUX switch, which allows you to switch between the dedicated GPU and using the integrated GPU together, and that does require a reboot. The other big update is you finally get a webcam, which was missing from the G15 in previous years. It's a 720p webcam. It's not the greatest, but at least it has one now, which I know a lot of you complained about. But design-wise, it's identical. So the white one I have here is the 2021 model. This black one is the 2022 model. Everything from the perforated holes to where the logo is placed is the same. It's still 4.2 pounds, which offers a good balance between portability and performance. Like, this is not the most powerful gaming laptop, but it's powerful enough that you could game on it, but still feel very comfortable taking it everywhere with you. Ports, identical. You have your power connector. This is the RTX 3060 model, so it's using a 200-watt power brick. I believe 3070 and 3080 come with a 240-watt power brick, but you do have an HDMI port, RJ45, a USB, 2 USB Type-C ports. Hopefully one day these get upgraded to USB 4.0 via a software update, but of course you can use a USB Type-C charger, 100 watts. You have a audio jack, and then on the right-hand side, you have your micro SD card slot and a USB port. It's still such a beautiful laptop though, right? You open this up with one hand, nice and easy. You have that beautiful, very comfortable keyboard to type on. I'm really impressed with ASUS's keyboards. They're so good now. Like, not only does this feel great for typing, but it's also awesome for gaming. I still think seeing the RGB on the keys is not the best. Like, I wish they made them a little bit brighter, but if you are gonna buy this and you do wanna see it a tiny bit better, you're better off with the black version, as I find that on the white one, it kind of gets blended with the color. The other thing is the big touchpad. Like, this touchpad is awesome. It's nice and massive, and there's just a lot of space to move your fingers around. And one thing I did notice though, was that the sticker placement in 2021 was significantly better. Like, look at this. AMD and NVIDIA sticker placement is mwah, right? Comes 2022, there's a war going on. There's psychological warfare between AMD and NVIDIA. You gotta understand, the sticker industry is a nasty business. Like, the NVIDIA guy, he usually clocks out at about 5, 6 p.m. and then AMD sticker guy comes in, and look what he does, right? This is some guerrilla warfare tactics. He puts a sticker here, clocks out at 6, AMD guy comes in, and then boom, slightly above the NVIDIA sticker, okay? This is like supreme domination. The fans still vent onto the display, but the G15 has a big, thick bar at the bottom, so the airflow hits that. M16, it kind of hits the display, but I haven't had any issues for the entire year that I've had it. Bezels are still nice and thin. Display feels nice and stiff. Speakers sound fantastic. It has 2 tweeters and 2 woofers for a total of 4. The ergo hinge forces the laptop up, so cooling is better because of that. And it also makes typing on the keyboard a bit more comfortable. The display. This is the RTX 3060 model. So this has a 165 Hertz QHD display. However, there is a better one, a 240 Hertz panel with a more brighter display. This one is not the brightest display at all, but it does have very good color accuracy. And quite frankly, with a 3060 inside of here, you really don't need any more than 165 Hertz. Now, this model is probably gonna be their base model. I have no idea what it costs. I can't find pricing on this laptop at all. In fact, the only site where I saw actual pricing was Walmart Canada, out of all places. I saw the 3070 Ti model with 32 gigabytes of RAM and 6900 HS selling for 3,000 Canadian pesos. This does use the new AMD Ryzen 9 6900 HS. This one has 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD. Now, CPU performance this year is a bit of an update. It's not a massive update, like going from 11th gen to 12th gen Intel. There's a big difference there, but there's an update in both single core clock speeds and multi-core speeds, going from 5,000 to 6,000 series AMD. Like, for example, Mozilla Firefox, I compiled some code on it. This does it 2 minutes faster compared to the previous model. If you're using the Adobe suite, Photoshop, you'll notice a big improvement. Same holds true with After Effects. I tend to see that Adobe still relies on the CPU, but there wasn't much of a difference in Premiere Pro. You know, the other one does have the RTX 3080, so it does perform faster, but it's not by a lot. As for Blender, 3D work, obviously the RTX 3080 is a more powerful GPU and it utilizes it very well. But when it comes to gaming, it just really depends on the types of games you're playing. If you're playing older titles, optimized titles, you can totally play at QHD on this guy and get really good frame rates. If you're playing 1920 by 1200, I think that's the sweet spot for most of the newer titles if you want decent frame rates. But this is not like one of the most powerful gaming laptops out there. You know, they had to like nerf the amount of power going to the GPU because of its chassis. It's a thinner chassis. It has to reduce the amount of heat that's inside of here to support this sort of form factor. The only thing I didn't like is the fan noise. When this thing is on turbo mode, it is very loud, like 60 decibels. And that's much louder than the Lenovo Legion 5i Pro that I tested earlier this week. Now don't get me wrong, the 5i Pro is a thicker, bigger laptop, so it should be quieter, but 60 decibels is loud. Thankfully, you can change the profile. You put it on performance mode, fan noise gets reduced. And if you want like a super quiet experience, you're in class, you can always throw it on silent. Now internally, it's identical to the previous model. The cooling layout, the fans, where the battery is located, everything is the same. It even still uses liquid metal, which is a good thing. There's 2 slots for drives. One is empty. This one is populated with a 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD. 8 gigabytes of RAM is soldered onto the motherboard, but depending on which model you buy, you might get it with 16 gigabytes of RAM soldered onto the motherboard. It's using Rank 16, but it is DDR5. Swappable Wi-Fi 6E card, and the same big 90 watt-hour battery. The only difference though is I'm actually getting worse battery life on the newer version compared to the old one. The old one I got about 9 hours, this one I'm getting about 7 hours and 15 minutes. So the new G15 brings the updated webcam and the MUX switch, which is something that people wanted. But it's not much of an update in terms of actual performance or even battery life. And it really comes down to the pricing. You know, if this thing is starting off more than $100 than the previous version, then personally, I would just look for a good deal on last year's model, as long as you're okay not having a webcam, because paying more than $100 or $150 for the new version compared to the starting price of last year's model is a hard pill to swallow, because you're not really getting that much of an update in overall performance, which is what people want year over year. Personally, I still think it's a great laptop if you're looking for a 15-inch laptop, and I think ASUS did a good job of balancing portability and performance, but it really comes down to the price. I hope that answers all of your questions. If you have any more, let me know in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.